Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 28th Positively Disney phone-in podcast. I can't believe it's actually May 28th. I didn't expect that to line up like that, but it did do that also last month, April 23rd. It also lined up for our 23rd show. And I just want to welcome all my Facebook viewers and Twitch viewers, all you guys out there. My name's Kimberley Bouchard. I'm your host and the author of the best-selling series, Positively Disney, their heartwarming stories about Disney's impact on people's lives, guests like you and me, and Disney artists and the cast members themselves. So anyways, I hope you guys are having a wonderful Memorial weekend. We definitely are. And if any of you guys have graduates, you know that this is only the beginning of one of the busiest times of the year for these guys. And something that you kind of forget about is if you have graduates, then your children's friends are all graduating as well. So we actually had a lovely baccalaureate mass at the University of Washington yesterday and have parties nonstop this weekend and the next few weekends. Just want to say hi to Stan and welcome Stan, and hi to my hubby that I can see watching the show. I just realized that so there's a couple, Ryan and Nicole Makahi, that I wanted to actually say a shout out to, because they are actually on the ship that I and about 100, well, there's going to be more, but there's about 150 of us, including Stan himself, heading to Alaska in 3 weeks. And they are actually on the Wonder today as we speak, heading to the same, in the same places that I will be heading. So kind of looking forward to that and living through that. So I won't be podcasting that day, of course, but at any rate, I just want to say also a hi to John Little and welcome to the show tonight. And, you know, something that I also realized is that everywhere I go, for some reason, I'm on I become hyper alert to anything that I see Disney. And I happened to go to Target actually yesterday just for some of those space saver bags, you know, the whole old vacuum trick and the put your linens or winter clothes or whatever in there. And holy cow, they had all this Disney stuff out. And I had seen sort of some little stuff, you know, and they have really neat kids clothes in that. But I'm talking bedding, lamps, pillows, you name it, they had it. So with my little basket, I ended up trying to cart all this stuff out of the store, but I was really excited because I got actually a new Mickey. It's just actually quilted in there Mickey. It's not over the top Mickey, although I was hoping it'd be a little wee bit more over the top. At least that's what the packaging indicated. At any rate, so I've got Mickey Mouse, heads on the quilt and the shams, and I bought a really large bath mat. It's a black silhouette of Mickey. And then this is the piece de la resistance for me. I bought this massive Mickey pillow that I put on our bed that unfortunately our little wiener dog likes to go after it. Little Morty, our little guy named after Mickey's nephew. He absolutely loves that. And Stan says, yeah, he thinks he needs to make a trip south of the border to visit Target. Absolutely. That's something that unfortunately Target was in Canada a few years ago and then it just didn't fly. I think Walmart's presence there was just too great or something, but they did actually leave Canada. So sorry about that, Stan. You wouldn't have had to go too far for that. But yeah, it's really fun to run across things like that. Well, today I wanted to talk about something I had actually forgotten about. And I was actually writing a story last week for the 4th book that actually brought up the superstar television that some of us remember it. Some of us have been very fortunate to be a part of, and others that didn't know about it. We're going to tell you a little bit about it. But before I go on, I want to welcome Mike and Matthew. Matthew and his wife are in the third book, the romance edition. They're actual cast members from Walt Disney World and absolutely huge Disney fans, of course. They took their honeymoon in Disneyland as well. So welcome, Matthew, as well. At any rate, Superstar Television was at MGM Studios, now Hollywood Studios, where American Idol was, and now I think the Frozen Sing-Along is in that place. You guys can correct me if necessary. But anyways, Superstar Television, they were actual scenes set up from different television episodes with green screens, and they choose audience members prior to entering into the theater to participate in these shows. And they would have green screens. And they'd have a variety of shows. Some of the shows that they'd have, and they'd look for specific audience members. They had, so they had the Ed Sullivan Show, and they had different acts. And so if you were picked for that particular show, the Von Zels would be singing the Do Run Run song, and there'd be 3 different audience members acting that out. And the whole green screen, it seemed like you were right there because you would interact with Ed Sullivan or whoever you're supposed to interact with. It was the coolest thing. Another one of my favorite shows, Gilligan's Island. They depicted Gilligan's Island, and it was such a hoot because they would choose they'd choose 3 or 4, I think, different guests for that one. And in the intro, introducing the skipper, you could have like a young girl dressed as a skipper. They'd introduce Thurston Howell and Ginger, the movie star. And they'd have a boat scene where the boat was, at the intro where it's out of control, and you'd be on there in the green screen and they'd be actually moving this boat. And they also then had a little thing at the end. And so what they would do is they would film all of these different scenes, and then they do a playback. And it was always such a hoot because, of course, we as guests / participants in the actual shorts that they would depict, we would never get it right, of course, and things would be delayed, and it was just a lot of fun. Another one that they had that I want to well, actually, I'll tell you about several. And then I'll tell you about the one that my husband and I were chosen for because it was very unexpected. But they had Bonanza, which was a really old Western, and they'd have a little guy, usually a young boy, on a horse as part of the intro for that show. Cheers. It was a really cool episode. I never watched Cheers a lot. I watched a little bits and pieces of it, but there is a scene in Cheers in one of the shows about these birthdays, and Woody Harrelson is the bartender at that point. And there are 4 guests from the audience that are reading cue cards and proclaiming that it's their birthday because they get a free beer. So all of them decide to get a free beer. And it was really neat the way they did it, because they actually even gave them these fake mugs of beer, and they were interacting with all the characters that were there on the show. Another show that I always loved Lucy. And as I say, I mean, I never grew up watching I Love Lucy, but I'm sure many of you remember that you could actually see her doing that conveyor belt chocolate. I guess she was wrapping chocolates in that, and the conveyor belt was just going far too quickly for her to successfully wrap each chocolate. And one of the guests that were chosen would be her friend Ethel, who would be doing it too. And this is the part where Lucy is now stuffing her face, stuffing them in her uniform, and this same guest has to do the same thing. And I don't know if they were real chocolates. They were probably fake chocolates because this lady didn't put them in her mouth, but she did put them in her hat and in her dress, and interacted with Lucy on the show. So that was so fun. And I did hear from someone that they actually had been chosen for that part when they were 12 years old, and just she said she will never, ever forget that. Superstar Television actually was in existence from 1989 to 1997, I believe. And sometimes they change it out to update some of the shows like Home Improvement and Golden Girls and things like that. Stan says they used to do something like that for the Stunt Spectacular, where they would film it, then show your performance on screen. Yeah, that would be fun for sure. Want to welcome quickly Kimberley and Janny for joining us tonight. So I'm going to tell you about two other shows that were on the Superstar Television. Well, actually, these are semi shows, and I'll tell you why. So on the one of the shows in, I think it was the early 90s, it was a spinoff of the Three Stooges. And of course, you can only imagine the Three Stooges things happening on there. Well, it was the episode of the pie fight. And what was really unique about that is they'd have a couple of guests on there participating. And one of them, the butler calling people for dinner, would end up with a pie in the face, a whipped cream pie in the face. And I actually know somebody that had been a participant in that. And it was really interesting, his story, because what happened is his first time at Walt Disney World, they were actually there for a few months, and he was freshly out of high school and he was checking things out. And he discovered this pie in the face episode. But what he discovered even more, which was fun for him, was that if you are that person that gets the pie in the face, you actually were given a coupon to get a real slice of pie or a milkshake, depending on the day. And this guy, being fresh guy out of high school, thinking free pie, free food at Disney at any rate, he was there every single day and trying to be the cocky kid, to get chosen, because sometimes you kind of have to make a little bit of a spectacle of yourself to be chosen. Sometimes not, but they try to grab attention. So he said that he would go every day. They'd have several shows in a day, of course. And he said that if he didn't get on one show during the day, he'd keep going back until he got chosen. And he said he pretty much got chosen every single day at some show or not. And I'm not too sure, if cast members started recognizing him or not, but he loved the the scene in the background, the whole set and film and all that, how that worked. So he actually loved that, and he had a piece of pie or milkshake every single day that he had gone to what we now call Hollywood Studios. A big welcome to Lewis as well. Welcome to the show. Now, there is one show that was a short film. It wasn't anything that you would recognize, but it was actually a little film that they probably had done specifically for this episode, that my husband and I were chosen for. And it was the early 90s, before we had kids. And I'll never forget going into sort of the holding area where they hold you before they put you in the theater, and seeing all these different people being chosen. And we were very quiet. We didn't, go out of our way to grab attention or whatever. And I was observing how these different people were being chosen. And some had really, really bright colors on. Others would be making, a lot of noise, trying to grab the cast members' attention that were choosing guests for the shows. And I will never forget, we were on our way in, and all of a sudden we were stopped, my husband and I, and another couple. And I was so stunned to be asked to be a participant. I didn't say a word. I know people probably can't believe that I was actually speechless, but yes, I was speechless. And the cast member actually asked my husband and I if we spoke English, because she saw the look on my face of surprise and being stunned. And I had no idea what I was going to be in for. At any rate, boy, did we have a hoot. So the show or the episode of Superstar Television that we were invited to do was a short that it was called Lucky Life Insurance. And our fellow comedian Canadian Martin Short was the evil, what was his name? Simon Weirs, and Chevy Chase, of course, were in it. So what the whole idea for us in that performance in the show was we were the sound people. Holy cow, I have new respect for the sound people. I mean, things, of course, have changed, sound effects to a point, nowadays, but it was amazing, and it was a huge task. So there was 4 different stations that we had to operate, and I had to be responsible for making the thunder and lightning. So there was like this massive sheet that I'd have to shake, a metal sheet. I had to kind of spin this little dealy thing by the sheet to make this thunder and lightning sound. I had to be the sound person for when the chandelier fell and broke. So I'd have to spin this little thing around that sounded like broken glass. I had to take care. There was 2 doorknobs, 2 door knockers, I should say. I had to do the inside one and the outside one. And then there was a little bit of a weird xylophone thing that I had to use, which was sort of the opening of the peephole so that this evil butler could look out and see Chevy Chase. And then there's door closing, door opening, that kind of thing. That was all the stuff I had to be in charge of. And I'm going to just welcome Jeremy onto the show, and Beth as well. Before I tell you what my husband was involved in, Beth is actually hanging out at Disney Springs right now on her way to Raglan Road for dinner. Awesome, Beth. I will talk about that in a moment. Jacques was asked to do a variety of sound effects, but the one that had everybody in stitches before we even got started was he actually had to make the growling, grunting sound of the evil butler, Simon Weirs. Well, I don't know, but my husband does not have that kind of voice. I'm sorry, Jacques, but he just does not have that guttural growl. It was absolutely kind of it was kind of sad in a way, but he still went along with everything and did his growling, did his grunting. And so anyway, so they rolled the camera, and while we are watching the film, we had to do all these things. Well, the best part of the whole thing was the playback, of course, because when the chandelier dropped, you didn't hear the sound effects of it breaking until it had already broken down. There was a scene with a room blowing up, and you wouldn't hear those sound effects. Sometimes we get it right. You could hear the wind, you could hear the thunder, lightning. That was sort of a continuous thing. But it was just a hoot and a half to be chosen to do the sound effects for this show. And I really wish that we could have purchased our little show. That would have been a great kind of money grab for the gift shop, because I sure would have bought mine. It was just a really fun experience, and you never ever know when you're going to get chosen for something, for an activity. Big hi to Eric, who also has joined us tonight. As you know, Hollywood Studios is known for a lot of audience participation. I really loved American Idol. I just thought that those guys were so brave to go up there and give it their all, singing, and just had an opportunity, really, a really cool opportunity to kind of show their stuff to other audience members. I also think it's really fun at the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular, where a few audience members are chosen for different things. And I just think that it just makes it just so much more interesting when you do get guests that are absolutely not expecting to be chosen for certain things, and you could see how it's just so organic as far as their reactions to things. I would love to know if any of you guys have had the opportunity to be chosen for anything on property to participate in, please call in. The number to call, 844-483-4763, if you want to share a Disney experience, this story with us. Lewis says, sorry, I watch you in all the Star Wars movie. Okay. The Beth was mentioning that she's heading off to Raglan Road, and Raglan Road is one of my favorite places actually at Disney Springs. A lot of restaurants and things like that are there. But Raglan Road is a little bit special to us because of its being an Irish pub, and having my kids that are Irish dancers. We kind of all descended on that place a couple of years ago when there was the North American Irish Dance Championships at near Walt Disney World, actually. And of course, they have the Irish dancers performing, and they do have you come on. I'm trying to think how they work that out, but sometimes they have you go on stage, or they invite you up to teach you some of the dances and dance moves. Well, I think we were a party of, I'm trying to think how many of us were about 15 of us at the time for dinner. And I think we had about 4 or 5 Irish dancers amongst us, and they let the Irish dancing cast there know about it. And what was really nice is they were all invited up, and they did their own little number on stage with the music in front of everybody, and did a little performance. And I thought it was just really, really really fun. Again, very welcoming for others to show their stuff on stage. Stan says Raglan Road is another place I've never tried. Didn't have it booked once, but couldn't make it. Okay. Raglan Road, I have made reservations in the past, but I think you can also go without a reservation. Beth could maybe confer with that, but I think that you if you're willing to sort of go by and wait a little while, you can get in. I think like a lot of places, not every place is like that, but with a lot of places, I think you can do that actually. So it's really kind of a neat opportunity for some audience participation. Another place that you can participate in, I should say, this place is long gone now. Just a quick welcome to Donna Jo. Thanks for joining us, Donna Jo. Is at Disney Springs, when it was not Disney Springs, it was downtown Disney. There was a place called the Wild Horse Saloon, and it was a country and western dance bar actually, and it was a unique setup because if you went in on sort of the street level, you'd have to go. You could watch the line dancing and all of that down below, and again it was audience participation. You could, the DJ would get you out there, and you could actually start doing a line dance together, and it was really, really great fun. If you don't mind trying something new out, especially choreographed dancing, and some of us at the time, well, I had a wee bit of experience with the country line dancing, just a wee bit, but if you're willing to try, it was just always a lot of fun. Stan was saying that there was 7 of us. Oh, okay. So back to the Raglan Road restaurant, there was 7 of us, and he wanted to eat there. So I know that when you start getting past a certain number, it is really, really hard to be able to book sometimes tables for large numbers of people, for sure. Yeah, I understand that, Stan. Lewis is Lewis and Stan are having a little conversation about different Lego and that's sometimes at Disney you don't have to wait to be asked to participate in things. There are other places that you can do things, and so it's just reminding me about the Lego that Lewis is bringing up, because there is the big Lego store, and they have all these tables out for the little ones to build different things with the Lego, and it kind of gives you an opportunity to test out if your kids like certain colors or whatever, things like of that nature. But at any rate, be open when you go to the Disney parks. Be open to being chosen to participate in a variety of activities. And I do miss Superstar Television, but there are other things that you can take part in. Beth says the show you're part of, I remember when it used to be a Chevy Chase Foley artist show where they got participants to be the Foley artists. It was wonderful. I loved it. The exit, you could go into the sound booth. It was our favorite. Yes, it was really a lot of fun. And I really miss having that as well. Another actually participation type of deal, which oh yeah, Stan, sorry. Yeah, like the kids Jedi training at Disney Hollywood Studios. I forgot about that. Thanks for bringing that up. So there is an opportunity, actually not only at Hollywood Studios for the kids to be Jedi, to participate in Jedi training opportunities, but also Pirates with Jack Sparrow and that in front of Pirates of the Caribbean. Those are two other really fun opportunities for the children to participate in. I don't know if they would accept adults. I have a feeling that it's just designed for the kids, but it would be really cool to be up there, to being a Jedi and kind of having fun with that. But yeah, they do have that. So another place that I wanted to just bring up, because we did have a really fun experience with this too. I remember now. Again, this was actually the second year that we were married. So that was 1994. And we went and experienced the Hoop-de-Doo music review. That was, and it's still going on. I think it's the longest dinner. I think, what do you call them? Well, it's not really, well, I don't even know what they would call it. A musical dinner theater type of show, the longest running one at Walt Disney World. And it actually takes place in now I'm losing my words. Can you believe that? At the Fort Wilderness. There you go. So you take the little boat over from Magic Kingdom and you go to the boat dock in the Fort Wilderness Park and you just take a little walk to it. There's 2 shows a night. And it's an all you can eat, all you can drink buffet. And holy cow, do they have ribs? They have the mashed potatoes. They have sangrias, I think they have, or something else as well. It is so, so fun. So anyways, we still must have had that newlywed glow on us, because they actually sat us at the center front table on the main floor. When you get seated in the front table on the main floor, you need to sort of be prepared for things to happen. And there was one scene, I will not spoil the show, but there's one scene that is the North American Indian scene with a teepee, and because this is sort of this whole show is a Western, from I think the 19th century at any rate, or maybe even before that. And it's just so much fun. So actually, my husband Jacques was chosen to participate on stage. And it was so much fun. You don't always get asked to go up stage, but there are several positions that you can be invited to do on stage at the Hoop-de-Doo music review. But the actors, the cast themselves, throughout your whole dinner, they will come around and walk around to various tables and interact with you. And it's just really a lot of fun. I know I've been helping different people plan their Disney getaways because of the fact that the North American Irish Dance Championships are going to be held there again this year. And people know that we're Disney folks. And so I've spent hours with people, and I said, if there's one sit down meal that you only want to do, one sit down, I said, do the Hoop-de-Doo music review, because that's such a unique experience. I mean, there's so many to choose from, and I do suggest be our guest over the counter, whatever. But Hoop-de-Doo music review, I always suggest that to people. Yes, John, there are ribs. Oh yeah, okay. So ribs, chicken, corn, beans, cornbread, biscuits, mashed potatoes, apple and berry desserts. Oh my word. That is amazing, amazing food there. And you can never eat all of it. And I know that as we've gone, I think 3 or 4 times in our lives, and it's really been interesting to see how much food we can actually get through now that I've got growing kids. And so it's really lovely that, it's all inclusive. They just keep bringing it on, bringing it in, just like at Liberty Tree Tavern. They just kind of keep bringing it on, bringing it on. Beth says, Citizens of Hollywood, they pull people into their skits all the time for the matchmaker game, the trivia game show, or even just the National Day Parade. So much fun. Beth, you have often talked about the Citizens of Hollywood, and I have been much more of an observer there because I'm always kind of heading over to an attraction or something of that nature. But I think that I'm going to make a valiant effort. I'm actually going to be in Hollywood Studios on the 28th to say hello to a couple of people there. And I'm going to make sure I slow down and take that all in, because for some of us that don't live around there, we tend to hurry by things in order to get our different ride experiences and things like that. So I'm going to definitely make an effort to slow down and take it a little bit slower in Hollywood Studios for sure. John is talking about the glass mugs of belly washers. Gosh, I can't even remember. I'm going to ask my tech guy if he remembers anything about that. No, he doesn't. He's shaking his head. He's not too sure what that is referring to. John, if you could elaborate on that, that would be really great. Yeah, Stan, for sure. Beer, soft drinks are all included in something like that. In any kind of buffet like that's typically included, but it is there for sure. So I highly recommend try it out. I'm not sure if there's any other things. Oh, okay, Beth, thank you. So the Citizens of Hollywood, I've got to make a note of this. 12:30, 1:30, 2:30, and 3 p.m. They are all out, and Citizens of Hollywood is worth a stop. Beth, is there a particular place in Hollywood Studios you could recommend to us to, if we wanted to participate or wanted to check them out? Where is the best place to go? Because I know they do wander. I know where they wander around, but is there a particular place there that you would recommend? John is talking belly washers. Belly washers. Okay, he's referring to Coke and Sprite and different soft drinks like that. Lewis is talking about one day he went to the Electric Umbrella and got a cheeseburger with mac and cheese on it, but the next time I went there, they stopped making it. Wish they didn't do that. Oh, okay. So, they do have things that they're changing up, aren't they? The different foods that they're changing up for sure. Beth had said near the Sweet Shop and Real Vogue on Sunset Boulevard. That is where to kind of meet up with the citizens of Hollywood, and I will definitely go there. The last time I was there, they were sitting down in the street honoring one of their cast members that they had actually recently lost, and they were having pie in her honor. And I'll never forget, they had Tabasco sauce there, so they were kind of egging each other on to add Tabasco sauce to their pie to give it some kick. And I don't know if I could do that with pie, but anyways, they're just really a good group of people. I know my friend Father George, when he's in Magic Kingdom, I can't remember. Somebody can please tell me their names. There are a couple of women of society. I think they were representing voting and voters and stuff like that. I can't remember their names, but they are really, really lovely, and they will also interact with you as well. They've actually come to know my friend and consider him the not priest, but the Reverend of Main Street USA. They kind of gave him that little title, and it was really cute. But I can't remember their names offhand. But they are also very lovely to interact with, and they do stay character. They do not break character, so it's always really, really fun. Beth suggested just sit on a bench and enjoy. Yeah, for sure. Oh yes, Stan was talking about the mayor of Main Street USA also will interact with you. I don't even know if I've ever seen the mayor up close, or maybe I've just seen him from afar. I wonder if he is out every day, Stan or Beth or anybody out there. Do you know if the mayor is out on a daily basis at Magic Kingdom? I'm not too sure. But I definitely want to make an effort this time to just slow down just a wee bit and take a look around. And I think it would be really nice just on the occasion to sit on a bench. The only time I find myself sitting out on a bench is if, well, particularly in Hollywood Studios, as if my family members are on Aerosmith's Rock and Roller Coaster. I don't do that one. I will not do that one. And if so on occasion, when they're doing Tower of Terror, I'll sit out on the street. But I do participate in the Tower of Terror, so I'll go into the room and to do the pre-show, and then I just get escorted out. So you can do that on that one, by the way. If anybody is afraid of Tower of Terror, or just not comfortable with it, you can actually go into the pre-show and exit off, and it's really, really good. So Beth was talking. Victoria Trumpetto is on Main Street, and Miss Beatrice Starr are the two on the Main Street as well. Yes, okay. So the mayor, I thought the mayor wasn't around anymore. He did recently pass away. That's right. The mayor of Main Street, USA, did pass away recently, and they now have an assistant mayor on Main Street. It would be really nice. I wonder if they would consider doing having a new mayor allocated to Main Street, or if they're just going to keep the assistant. Another person on Main Street USA, Mrs. Frances Fermata. She's a matchmaker. Oh boy. I wonder what that would be like interacting with her. I would imagine you, if you were chosen, you would probably be matched up with another guest or something, or introduced to another guest, or maybe she was finding a match for herself. I don't know. But anyways, all these guys are wonderful. I just remembered the people that I have not, believe it or not, met yet in Magic Kingdom. And I don't know if you guys have had a chance to meet them, but the stepsisters, apparently they are just an absolute riot. The stepsisters, I've not also met the fairy godmother. And I think it's time. I've been going there for so long, and I think it's time that I make that a point of my trip to meet the stepsisters, that I guess are just a lot of fun as well. Beth is saying the fire chief walks Main Street a lot. Okay, I knew that there was a fire chief, but I didn't know that he did walk around a lot. So I guess that is kind of a neat opportunity as well to meet up with the fire chief of Main Street USA. Stan was talking about that so at Tower of Terror, you take down an elevator. When you exit out of the tower, I'm like, you don't understand. I don't want to go on the scary elevator. Oh, that's so fun. So in Tower of Terror, I've shared this with people before, but I was told there was only a couple stories and I didn't have to worry about it. So I went in, and this is from my friend, who I call him kind of my Disney dad, my Florida father. He's 80. Now I think Dan is about 85 years old. He was the vice president of operations for hotels once upon a time there, and very, very lovely man. He still does a few hours of work a week for Disney. Can you imagine 85 years old and you still can work for Disney and do a few hours? And I think it is wonderful that Disney has all ages like that, because there's so many roles for Disney cast members in there, and it's just wonderful. And he's the one that suggested that I try the Tower of Terror out, and I don't do good with drops, and I was pretty green after, and I'll never forget wondering how I was going to make it through the rest of my day after that Tower of Terror experience, because I felt actually nauseous for a couple hours, and I think we ended up going to see the Beauty and the Beast performance at the different Beauty and the Beast performance at Hollywood Studios there, so I could get my stomach back in line. Stepsisters all make fun of what you wear, and Gaston is another one to interact with. Always give him a compliment when you walk up. I love interacting with Gaston. I will more often than not definitely see Gaston to have a photo and that taken. Welcome, Father George. My friend Father George is on here, who I was just speaking about in his interactions with the ladies of Main Street USA. Father George, can you please tell me the title that they gave you the last time you were on? I think it was just a few weeks ago you were there. Stan said he's met the stepsisters at the Grand Floridian at the restaurant. Oh, I didn't know they were at the restaurant at the Grand Floridian. That would be quite neat. So George, does Main Street USA have a new mayor? We're asking about that. And I was just wondering, Father George, if you can tell me who it was again that got to know you by name on Main Street USA. Now, Father George does not live near Disney. He goes there a few times. Oh, yes. Okay. Father George is known now to these lovely ladies of of Main Street as the honorary chaplain of Main Street. I knew it was a title, something along those lines. That was, and I just think it's really fun. They remember you. I mean, he goes, Father George, I think you go about 4 or 5 times a year now. And it's really neat to be remembered by different cast members. I know, so Victoria and Hildegard. I know Beth had mentioned Victoria, but she hadn't met Hildegard. What is Hildegard known for, Father George? If you can please tell me, because I know Beth was introducing a few of them, as well as the matchmaker, and I just can't remember what her role on Main Street was. But I know that for us, this may sound kind of bad, but the Sunglass Hut in Magic Kingdom, they know who we are. They remember us by name and a little bit about us. So that's kind of the only place that we are known in all the parks as far as by name and our bit of our background, because we loved sunglasses, and there was a sale and there's 5 of us, so I don't know how many pairs of sunglasses we brought, but I do have a little reason why I bought so many pairs of sunglasses. And I'm not talking 10, but I think we walked out of there with 5 pairs of sunglasses for 3 of us or 4 of us. So because I have to wear glasses, and I don't wear them on the show because of the glare with the computer screen, but I discovered this a few years ago when I actually had to wear glasses, and I wanted them to be fun. And what I do is I buy sunglasses, I pop out the frame, pop out the lens, and then I get the actual prescription lens put in. And so I've got these cool Ray-Ban. We have a lot of different Ray-Ban styles, and my son just really got a really cool one with round kind of white wire, really cool sunglasses that he just got the lens popped out and made them into sunglasses. And for me, I tend to get transitional lenses, so I kind of have best of both worlds. I do sunglasses and I do regular glasses with them. So they had a lot of really neat sunglasses in the Sunglass Hut in Magic Kingdom last time we were there, and so we bought them and are slowly making them into glasses as we need them. You collect sunglasses, I collect kimonos, right? So, oh my goodness. Father George collects kimonos. I knew that he had 1 or 2, and I think, did you get your kimonos from the Japanese pavilion by any chance, Father George? I'm not too sure. That is one of the places that we always stop in. My kids are really into some of the Japanese art and that, so we always go there. Stan is asking me, how often do you lose your sunglasses? I never lose my sunglasses. I just, believe it or not, have several pairs of glasses now that go with different outfits. That might sound silly, but I mean, it would have sounded silly to me several years ago when I first started wearing glasses, but I actually have certain glasses that I match with different colors. So it's just one of those things. Father George is talking about a cast member that his name is Angel Ramos, and he is part of security, I believe, that is in Hollywood Studios. And that's actually one of the people that I'm going to be stopping by and saying hello to, because it's really neat. I don't know if any of you guys have made this. Made the connections, that are on some of these Disney pages, but it's really fun to actually meet up with some of these folks that are your Disney Facebook friends, And for me, because I podcast and do other Disney types of stuff, I'm very fortunate that I get to meet up with several people whenever I'm at the Disney parks or on this cruise that's coming out. That's actually 3 weeks from today. We're sailing, and that's going to be really fun. Let's see. Father George collects his hats. Lewis says that he collects shot glasses and pins from Disney. Oh my goodness. I was trying to, I know that I've also been a pin collector in the past, but I'm just kind of wondering where they would have shot glasses. That's really neat, Lewis. How long have you been collecting shot glasses, or do you have an actual count on your collection of shot glasses? I'm kind of curious to know that. Father George says, okay, so we're just having a little bit of a dialogue here. Angel was in Magic Kingdom for the longest time, and then he moved to Hollywood Studios. And, of course, these cast members wear their name tags with their names and where they're from. And I wanted to share just one little thing, and then I'm going to be wrapping up the show here about cast members and name tags, because I learn something new every day. Every time I even podcast, I learn something from you guys that I'm so grateful for, because I don't know everything about Disney for sure. I will never know everything about Disney, and I don't live nearby. So I count on you guys sharing different things. At any rate, if you see a cast member's badge that has that's a blue badge, that means that they have won the Legacy Award. And the Legacy Award is an award recognizing their continued, I guess, the whole essence of what Walt Disney was trying to instill. They have demonstrated this and continue to demonstrate it, and they're actually awarded the Legacy Award based on the votes and the commendations and that from their fellow cast members, which I think is absolutely lovely. So anytime you see a blue colored cast members badge, you want to say congratulations, because these guys have, cast members without a doubt go above and beyond, but this has just got a little extra twinkling of pixie dust to them, and I just wanted to let you know about that. I just also wanted to tell you about the different pins that you might find attached to the cast members' badges. I don't know about all of them, but sometimes they will have a little gold Mickey and things like that. And I believe it's sort of an outstanding service or number of years. Somebody could maybe direct me on that case. But I do know that our friend who is 85, he has a gold Mickey on his car, because he would take us through the back way at Epcot, and they would just see some gold Mickey of some sort on the car that would just allow him anywhere he drove in behind the scenes. And I thought that was really cool when we got to experience that one time many years ago. Stan was just talking about George, yes, it's years of service. Yeah, I think it's years of service as well. Stan was also talking about his collection of antenna toppers and the shot glasses are also toothpick holders, I guess, that they have at Disney. I'm going to take a peek at that actually. And I have a friend right now that just left to Disneyland, and something that was really lovely. And I'm telling you, you guys, Disney fans, whether they're in the park, guests in the park, or I've met so many different Disney folks living in my area since I moved here 7 years ago. It's just incredible. And we all kind of, there's something shared with us, an affinity for something so much greater for us than us. And my friend had just left to Disneyland, and she texted me last night. She goes, "I'm heading to Disneyland. Is there anything you would like?" And I just love that. I think it's just so thoughtful. And I know that, Beth had gotten a rose within the tumbler for my daughter. And I just really want to say that I've just been very blessed to have you guys, join me tonight and chat with me a little bit, and as well as the different former cast members that live in my neighborhood. It's amazing who you have for neighbors, or that you run across in your own city. And I just think that I'm so very grateful to Walt to have created such an amazing entity that has actually spread out into every single part in the world. And with that, I would like to wrap the show up tonight. You guys, thank you so much again for joining me this evening. I hope you have a great, wonderful rest of your night. Father George, Stan, we will see you in a few weeks aboard the Wonder. And Father George is actually going to be a guest in my home for a few days before we hop on the Wonder. So I'm really looking forward to meeting you in person. And if it wasn't for Disney, if it wasn't for that incredible company and Walt Disney himself, I never would have met any of you guys or anything. So I'm very grateful for that. You guys have a great week. It's a short week this week, and be safe out there. Take care, and we will see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye for now.